Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you Chap, 18 Sec 2 of Jane Eyre, an autobiography.
As.
Jane Eyre, an autobiography. Brontë. Chap, 18 Sec 2. Unlove him. In him a style of courtship which, so then to seek, was yet, in its very carelessness, captivating, and in its very pride, irresistible. In these circumstances, though much to create despair, much to think, reader, to engender jealousy. If a woman, in my position, could presume to be jealous of a woman in Miss Ingram's, was not jealous, be explained by that word. Miss Ingram was a mark beneath jealousy, was too inferior to excite the feeling. Pardon the seeming paradox. What I say. She was very showy, but she was not genuine. She had a fine person, many brilliant attainments, but her mind was poor, her heart barren by nature. Nothing bloomed spontaneously on that soil. Unforced natural fruit delighted by its freshness. She was not good, not original. She used to repeat sounding phrases from books. She never offered, nor had, an opinion of her own, of sentiment. But she did not know the sensations of sympathy and pity. Tenderness and truth were not in her. Too often she betrayed this. The undue vent she gave to a spiteful antipathy she had conceived against little Aloud, pushing her away with some contumely as that if she happened to approach her, sometimes ordering her from the room, and always treating her with coldness and acrimony. But their eyes besides mine watched these manifestations of character, watched them closely, keenly, shrewdly. Yes, the future bridegroom was to Rochester to himself. His intended a ceaseless surveillance, perfect sentiments towards her, that my ever torturing pain arose. Marry her for family, perhaps political reasons, suited him. I felt he had not given her his love. Her qualifications were adapted to win from him that treasure. And faith, she could not harm him. And he had yielded and sincerely laid his heart at her feet. I should have covered my face, turned to the wall, died to them. If Miss Ingram had been a good and noble woman, endowed with force, favor, kindness, and vital struggle with tragic jealousy and despair, then they vowed I should have admired her acknowledged her excellence. Rest of my days, and the more absolute superiority, have been my admiration of more truly tranquil my quiescence. But as matters really stood, to watch Miss Ingram's efforts at fascinating Mr. Rochester repeated feel herself unconscious that they did fail. The mocked, and infatuatedly pluming herself on success. Repelled further and further what she wished to lure to witness this. At once under ceaseless excitation and ruthless restraint. Because once she failed, so how she might have succeeded. Or was that continually glancing for Mr. Worcester's breast and fell harmless at his feet. Might. I knew. Shot by a surer hand. Into his stern eye. And softness into his sardonic face. Or still, without weapons a silent conquest might have been won. Influence him more. Asked myself. Surely she cannot truly like him. True affection. She did. She need not coin her smiles so lavishly. Flash her glances so unremittingly. Manufacturers so elaborate. Graces so multitudinous. It seems to me that she might. That. Saying little and looking less. Yet nigher his heart. She is so vivaciously accosting him. But then it came of itself. Was not elicited by meretricious arts and calculated manoeuvres. Accepted to answer what he asked without pretension. Grimacy and it increased and grew kinder and more genial. Fostering sunbeam. How will she manage to please him when they are married? I do not think she will manage it. And yet it might be managed. And his wife might. I verily believe. Anything condemnatory of Mr. Worcester's project of marrying for interest and connections surprised me when I first discovered that such was his intention. A wife. But the longer I consider the position, education, and see of the parties, or missing ground for acting in conformity to ideas and principles instilled into them. Doubtless, from their childhood, other class held these principles. I supposed. Then, they had reasons for holding them such as I could not fathom. It seemed to me that, were I a gentleman like him, would take to my bosom only such a wife as I could love. Quite ignorant. Ducked. But in other points. As well as this. Very lenient to my master. I was forgetting all his faults. I had once kept a sharp lookout. Study all sides of his character. To take the bad with the good. And from the just weighing of both. To form an equitable judgment. I saw no bed. The sarcasm that had repulsed startled me once. Were only like condiments in a choice dish. Presence was pungent, but their absence would be felt as comparatively insipid. As for the vague something, was it a sinister or a sorrowful? A desponding expression that opened upon a careful observer. Now and then, and closed again before one could fathom the strange depth partially disclosed. That something which used to make me fear and shrink. Been wandering amongst volcanic-looking hills. 88. That something. And at intervals, beheld still, with throbbing heart, but not with calcid nerves. Instead of wishing to shun, I longed only to dare to divine it. And I thought Miss Ingram happy, because one day she might look into the abyss at her leisure, its secrets, and analyse their nature. Maintain. And his future bride saw only them, heard only their discourse and pleasures. The ladies Lynn and Ingram continued to consort in solemn conferences, where they nodded their two turbans at each other, hands in confronting gestures of surprise, or mystery, or horror, the theme on which their gossip ran, like a pair of magnified puppets. While Marsden talked with good-natured Marsden bestowed a courteous word or smile on me, Sir George Lynn, Colonel Dent, and Miss Sturgeon discussed politics or county affairs, or justice business. Lord Ingram flirted with animation one of the mess, Lynn's speeches of the other, sometimes always, with one consent by play to observe and listen to the principal actors. For, after all, Mr. the Party, if he was absent from the room an hour, and seemed to steal over the spirits of his guests, sure to give a fresh impulse to the vivacity of conversation. Well, quote, on business, and was not likely to return till late. Wordsworth. Ham, lately pitched on a common beyond hay, was consequently the third of the gentlemen were gone to the stables, the younger ones. The younger ladies were playing billiards in the billiard room, then sought solace in a quiet game of cards. Blanche and Grim were billed by supercilious taciturnity some efforts of Marsden's and mice, wishing to draw her into conversation, airs on the piano, and then, having fetched a novel from the library, had flung herself in haughty listlessness on a sofa and prepared to beguile, by the spell of fiction, the tedious hours of absence. And the house were silent. Was heard from above. It was verging on dusk, giving warning of the hour to dress for dinner, when little knelt by me in the drawing-room window seat, suddenly exclaimed, while Mr. Rochester turned, and Miss Ingram darted forwards from her sofa with others too, looked up from their several occupations of wheels, and a splashing tramp of horse hoofs became audible on the wet gravel. A post-chaise was approaching. Miss Ingram. He would measure the black horse, did he not? He went out. As she said this, ample garments so near the window, to the breaking of my spine at first, but once she did. Another casement. The post-chaise stopped, the driver rang the doorbell. Gentlemen alighted attired in travelling go, but it was not Mr. Worcester. It was a tall, fashionable-looking man, a stranger. How provoking, exclaimed Miss Ingram. You tiresome monkey, apostrophized I'll give fuss. Intelligence? And she cast on me an angry glance, Rainfoot. Fan. Parleying was audible and the hall entered. He bowed to Lady Ingram, as deeming her the eldest lady present. It appears I come at him. In opportune time, madam, said he, friend, Mr. Rochester is from home, very long journey. His manner was polite. His accent in speaking struck me as being somewhat insolent. Precisely foreign, but still not altogether English. His age might be about Mr. Rochester's, are between 30 and 40, singularly sallow, otherwise he was a fine-looking man, at first especially. On closer examination, he detected something in his face that displeased, that failed to please. His features were regular, but too relaxed to be continued.